My name is Linda Smircich. I'm a faculty member in Organization Studies at the School of Management.
Yes, I'm Marta Calas, and I am a faculty member at the School of Management in Organization Studies and International Management. And I'm also adjunct faculty at Women's Studies.
So what you sort of alluded to what your relationship is with women's studies. So, what's both your relationships with women's studies? How did you all connect to the program?
I think
Well, I think
we're good friends, and
oh, but there is a
Women's
history.
Studies keeps us alive.
Yeah, there is a history. We were here in the early 1980s. We both came to campus, in fact, for different reasons, the same time in 1982. And I think it was in 1985, there was a Phi College conference that was pretty much the women's studies program in the Phi colleges, including UMass. And Gayatri Spivak and other well-known feminists came and did presentation, and we
had to have there was a reading group
Yes.
first,
Oh,
so
that's
we got
right. There
together
was
to
a
study
reading group.
together. So
Yes.
it was like 2 or 3 weeks of homework and
Yes.
coming together, and that was really thrilling.
Yeah,
to be
and it
with
was really much more, I would say, feminist postmodernism, and perhaps what wouldn't even be called post-colonial theory at that point. And in a way, we were already thinking in terms of how our field of organization studies, would intersect with a kind of critique for our field that women's studies or feminist theorizing would do. So we were, in fact, almost like in a. It was like a like this sandbox for us, because we were in a place where actually nobody was objecting to the fact that these weird people from the School of Management were coming.
They did think we were kind of strange.
Yeah,
though.
they did. They did. Why do you want to do that? So,
What do you mean? You're going to talk about business
yeah. So, and that basically started. That's how we met most people, including Lorna, who is
Do you remember
right
that?
there. Do you remember? And so, and then, well, one thing got to the next, because in a way, we basically started just, talking across campus to the people we have met, and in particular with Sam Ferguson. We wanted to learn more feminist theory,
Yeah.
and we were completely blind. We have read postmodernism.
Well, there was the reading of Vicky Spellman's
That's
book
right,
too.
that's
An
right.
Essential
Vicky
Woman.
Spellman
That was another
reading
one.
group, and in fact, Joyce was in that group, and so that was fantastic. Also, because in many ways, the whole idea of intersectionality that we talked so, sort of, oh, of course. Now, I mean, Vicky's book was incredibly important in that run as well. So that's.
So we work over there on the other side of campus. We have to come over to women's studies and sort of get intellectually charged and sustained. So that's partly. I mean, so we also serve on committees to help out as sort of payment.
Yes, and in fact, the whole thing, in a way, we were just sort of like, like pretty much the sandbox idea, but dilettante. But as we learned more, we became much more. I mean, not just, it wasn't dilettantism anymore. It was actually our scholarship was incredibly transformed by feminist theorizing, to the point that that's what we are known for now in our field.
No, and I think we have to say one really important thing, because
Yeah.
you maybe have a question about what's the most memorable thing. Well,
Yeah.
we'll sort of.
Memory.
So, in the late 1980s, we wrote a grant to the NSF.
That's right.
And we got funding for a conference, and I don't remember exactly how it was titled, but it was something about
Feminist
what
theory.
could feminist theory bring to organization studies. And so we had a number of feminist theorists come to get together with business school people
From all over the country.
in Utah, of all places. And the person we were collaborating with from Utah told us about Beverly. So like, we've heard her name since that time. I remember she was very influential in Anyway, so the women's studies director at that time was Lee Edwards. So she was one of the people who participated with us in the conference in Utah, and that's been very influential in our
Airfield.
field.
That particular
So-
conference, it changed many people' way of thinking, and so in a way created a community of organization studies scholars who do or are informed by feminist theory in their work, and so it is, but it's all from here. I mean, if we would have never had a feeling for women's studies or feminist theorizing if it hasn't been for because we were here. And so it is this program and the Fight College community and the fact that in many ways UMass is really a fantastic place to be.
Well, you co-taught with Ann Ferguson.
Well,
That was
that's
important, too.
later. Then later on, that became them institutionalized in a way. So because we serve in committees and the executive committee, at some point Ann Ferguson went away for a semester or a year actually in sabbatical, and nobody wanted, I think, to do the director job for that year. Ann was a director at that point, and in 1999. And so I guess they thought I knew how to manage, so they asked me if I wanted to be the director for that year, which I did. I spent the time in women's studies doing that job. And at the same time, it was when the feminist certificate was being created. So I was in the committee with Anne and Joyce, who created the certificate originally.
What year was that?
That was, I think it was 97. I think it was 97. I'm almost positive it was 97. Anyway, Anne and I co-taught the first feminist theory core course for the graduate certificate. And it was really a big course. It got people from all over campus. It was really interesting. And so in a way it became, more and more we became part of women's studies too. And that's how, in fact, I ended up with Joyce becoming adjunct faculty. I mean, I think it was retrospective. So Anne and I taught together twice the course, feminist theory course.
So it seems like you all have been really inspired by the women's studies program and particularly feminist theory, but it also seems like your sort of training and organizational development has also shaped feminist theory.
But it's all because of here. It's all
No,
because
no,
of this program.
The Women's Studies Department is much better organized than our department ever could think of being. So,
But it's also true that we have at least 2 doctoral students, one who already graduated, and the other one who is now taking, Daphne, who is taking the courses. Daphne should
We've been in
be in
class
your
together.
cohort, and who in fact decided to do the certificate, which is very rare. And Christina Byrne, who was at the beginning, I think it was in the second year of the certificate, she became part of that program. She's now in Wisconsin, and she got an award last year for the most distinguished feminist scholar on campus, even though she's in the management department. So it is, some kind of award from the Women's Studies department for the whole campus. It was given to her. So it's very, it's sort of like this, women's studies here started something they don't know how dangerous it could be. It is infiltrated everywhere.
So, as you know, the department has changed its name, and so what do you all think of the new name, Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies versus Women's Studies?
I have to say, I haven't been able to remember it. So,
That's why I wrote it down.
so name changes are really, really tough. The same thing happened in our professional division. So, no comment beyond that.
Yeah, I sometimes joke that it sounds like a radio station when you say WGSS. But in many ways, I think I feel the same way as Joyce mentioned before. On the one hand, I think it was necessary, in particular, to have gender as part of it, because women is still too much associated, as if the problem of the world was a women problem. It's
Right.
not, that it's gender relations problem in the larger picture. So it was the gender word. I thought it was extraordinarily important that it was the time now. I think sexuality is important, but I wasn't too sure whether it was too restrictive to other areas of the program that are also important. And even though you cannot have, too long a name because then everyone forget what it is, I'm still not sure that it capture all that the program is. So my concern is more around whether by including what it include, it exclude other aspects that are there.
I wonder what it's like to answer the phone at the office. Does the person have to say all of that?
Yes,
That's
they
what,
do.
Yeah, I witnessed Linda
Yeah.
saying.
And they are amazing now because I keep on hesitating at the end what goes next. But Linda and Nancy and Karen have it done to a T.
So,
last
time to
question-
go.
Yeah, last question is just hopes. Any last sort of hopes for the program? Anything that you would like to see in the future?
Live long and prosper.
My vision is that in fact, when the curriculum is changed in the university, finally completely changed, everybody, no matter what program, have to take a course in women's studies.
Well, what we have
Rather
to,
than
we have to get a
undergraduate.
gender course in the business school.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
we have a gender course, gender, race, class, and organization.
Yeah.
Which is a PhD seminar. But in any case, yes, my dream is that if we are talking about interdisciplinarity, it has to be everywhere. It cannot be just, it has to be sort of intertwined with everything that is done at the university, no matter what. Mainstreaming is called in Europe.
Well, thank you all.